This is such a wonderful moment. And oh, look at that, 100. So thank you for bearing with the time issues. And I don't really put it in the cosmic hands, although of course the energies of all the retrogrades and all these different things happening. And next week we have a full moon coming. And that's going to be a really profound full moon because it's going to be after the equinox, which is peaking today. And you still have, 2-3 days of really good equinox energy because it opens a portal. You walk through it for a few days into this moment. Today's the peak. And all you want to do is receive, be in the moment. There's nothing to do. Now, if you feel called to go to a pyramid, which usually I am, and we would normally be in this morning and yesterday morning, we would have been at a local Mayan ruin. Beautiful, incredible experience called a solar initiation that I had last year. And there's a temple, an ancient temple built that on the equinox, when the sun rises, it comes directly through the door, the portal of this temple, and it hits you right in the third eye. And it is top life experiences. And I have had some doozies, okay? Like 2 times, 4 hours at a time with a group of people doing spiritual work together for years, and then gathering there using the power of the pyramids, the stone, the other dimensions, the other times, vibrating it through the didgeridoo and the chanting and the music, and it's just like you can't even believe what we did, and opening portals to other dimensions, to ascension in all kinds of ways. And I'm telling you, this solar initiation was up there as a different yet very profound experience. However, they did not allow it this year because of actually some mosquito things going on. And there's a lot of mosquitoes there when you're there at 5 a.m. So I was there in spirit, and we had a beautiful adventure yesterday together, my beloved and I. And I'm preparing to go to Greece in a few days, and I'm super excited because I am on a soul journey. This is something that's come out of the blue. It's not weird for me to travel. I grew up overseas. I've been to Greece many times. It was my first past life memory without knowing what a past life was. I had profound memories of it. I knew all the myths, all the archetypes, all the temples. When we went there when I was 9, I already knew it all. And I knew where things were, especially at Delphi. And so today I'm sure we will hear from the beautiful land at Delphi. If you've never heard of it, take a little Google. Beautiful, incredible place on a hill, and was a sacred site. Believe it or not, when it was closed with all the other pagan temples, all the god, goddess temples were closed, no one was allowed to use them. They actually forgot all about Delphi, which was the most respected, the most wealthy, and the most sought after place. So what I feel like, what has come through this process, so as an intuitive teacher and a spiritual mentor, and on my path myself for 30 some really long years, ups and downs through life, through the pain, through losses, through successes, just like you, it's real, and yet it's not. And I've been slogging through the darkness with you when we didn't know how to talk to each other. And I had to get a snail mail from a few people around the planet who were striving for their awakening and raising their consciousness. And what's happening is we're accelerating now. If you know the shape of a pyramid, but more specifically, that's to concentrate energy, right? It's a sacred shape, depending where you build it, what you build it out of. It's an awakener. It's a magnifier. It opens fields of energy. A Mayan pyramid built on 9 levels is about the 9th wave of consciousness being the top. And every level represented a certain number of years, like eons and billions and so forth. So you and I have been alive through several layers of consciousness, which is weird to think that back when humans first came into the scene of this evolution to build the structure of what we live in, Gaia, but everything, right? The stars, the planets, and so on and so on. And everything starts in spirit. Everything starts in God or goddess or source or everything or the infinite field. And that's where we all come from. And we are a conscious part of our soul that is here right now to actually begin to open our profound depth and ability to tune into all of these realms, all of these layers, angelic layers, fairies, Gaia, crystal kingdoms, okay, the moon, the sun. These are all living entities. And in the ancient cultures, the reason that their wisdom is rising up and we're helping to release the pain and all of the pain, fear, manipulation, that the rise of the masculine energy, we are not talking gender, we are not talking religion, and we are not blaming men, people in a man body right now. We are talking about creative divine energy, which has to have two poles, two magnetic poles. And they have to have the ability to play together, and they have to have the ability to stand alone. And what's happened for us on the planet, and this is all part of a lot of other energies that I can't go into right now, but if you know that we go through a procession of the equinoxes for 26,000 years, and as the planet moves through space, whatever you want to call it, consciousness, we move further away from source or light or the ability to easily know who we are, speak to who we are, co-create with other worlds. Remember that we're autonomous, that we're sovereign, that this whole thing that we have going on around us, from our job to our family, to our successes, to our failures, to how much money we have, to every drama that you could throw on the table to say, look, I have suffered, look, I have sacrificed, look, I have pain, I have suffering. Am I here to be that? No, and yes. You are here because you're strong enough and your soul came here to say, hey, guess what? You are a pinnacle life. You're sewing together. You are bringing together so many other lives. Past lives are so relevant. You can call them whatever you want because you could tune into a future potential life, or you could tune into a life that you had in a school or a wisdom school or some form of life understanding with a mentor or something on another, what we would call another planet. You don't need to know anything about these. You need to understand how you work. And we are, in my intuition awakening classes, right, we are working on awakening our intuitive skills. What does that mean? We have to cleanse and clear our light body. We have to recognize all the layers of our body and that they're subtle, which means we don't see them with our eyes, but we perceive them. And we have to learn how to move them, magnetize things to them, clear them of things, and then become a clear and open channel for more and more of our senses, of which we have at least 360. Okay, and those 360 senses aren't even conceivable to us yet. So many of them, at least 28 to 88, they're showing me right now, of those senses have started to come online. And that's a lot, because when I first started doing this work a long time ago, and I became aware and I kept learning mystery schools and sacred geometry and science stuff, and then I started out in a medical degree and dissected humans. And so like all the way down in these different levels of like what's underneath that. And then everything falling apart in my life, where I was like, okay, nothing I was taught worked out. I am nothing. And I need direction. Well, this is similar to where we are now. We're in a metamorphosis, but we're in one with everyone. And Gaia, what we call Gaia, is the earth. And Gaia was considered the navel of the world in that spot in Delphi, which means dolphin, in ancient Greece. And it was so sacred that it went from an oracle who was always a woman. It had to be somebody in a feminine body, and it still has to be someone in a feminine body. Can men be oracles? Absolutely. Can they be intuitive? Of course. Can they be amazing healers? Yes. Can they be completely loving and still divine masculine? Because the purpose of being in a masculine body, or the purpose of our divine masculine energy, if you're in a woman's body, is to use it for what its purpose is, to combine with the feminine and hold a container for it, to protect it, to support it, to build a beautiful castle for it, whatever way you want to call it metaphorically. And it doesn't mean you need a man to make money for you and give you a big house, although that can happen too. I'm talking about the energetics of this. So what I'm super excited about is that we had the other day, this has turned into a little series, and tomorrow I'm so excited to join you with Lisa Barnard. what? No, yeah, Lisa, hi Sylvia, Lisa will be on. Hi Lucille, oh, hi Genevieve, my bone, my love. Yes, it's a beautiful, beautiful fall equinox. So what we are going to do today is a little bit of the spiritual weather report, and we're going to do a deep meditation. And it's just been channeling. I barely even am in this timeline right now. I am and I'm not. And wow, I mean, yesterday I went to the dentist. I went to the chiropractor. I had a pedicure and a manicure. I rarely ever have a manicure, but I got a pedicure because I'm going away. I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks. I need everything to be at the optimal place, to be the container for spirit, for magic, for all the energies that have been pouring into me for what now, a month and a half at least since this whole thing started. And then doing the series for you, I get to be a clear and open channel and just start going, well, I love Greece. I'm not against the idea. I love going to sacred places. I love activating them. I love channeling messages from them and taking the group there for whatever their reasons, and then finding out we have a group reason. And what we've been doing in all of my retreats like this for years now has been activating the site, activating the land, activating the ancients for us and our path, and for the land and for the earth. And a lot of people, maybe you're one of them, thank you. You've been going around the planet, bringing your magic, bringing your beauty, being there in sacred space, honoring the moment, honoring the tree, honoring the place of nature or the ancient place or whatever the place is. There's this beautiful Thai restaurant we go to sometimes that has a water garden. Of just, I mean, it's just amazing. So it's like you get to have wonderful Thai food. The whole place is built on being a charity for cancer. And then you get to walk around these beautiful gardens and see these different flowers. I could never do that. I don't have the time, patience, or desire to create that kind of beauty. And yet they've created it. And I get to go into the sacred space they've created. And they've created it because it is their passion. So we need all of us to get back into what's our passion, what's our purpose, what's our mission, what's our soul profile really designed for. Because it is not wrong and it is not bad, but I can tell you it's going to keep grabbing you. It's going to keep dragging you back to prison. It's going to keep shutting the door in your face. It's going to keep making you doubt yourself. It's going to keep you limiting your joy. And that is the programming we all have, that we need to be practical. We can't go follow our heart. We can't go for joy. We have to worry about X and Y and Z and who thinks this and everything else. It's a very weird place to be, but you're on thin ice right now, and your soul's getting ready to drop you in to some seriously intense waters. Now, what does that mean? I don't know why that is coming through, but welcome everyone. Akasha here, and you are inside of a very sacred, very special equinox temple. And as this was coming together, the dolphins are here. I've done some equinox sessions with some clients. Holy me, wow. I think I missed the original start time because literally after the session I did this morning with a dear client of mine that I see her usually several times a year. And there is a sale on right now for my soul sessions. It's the lowest price of the year, and you get a bonus, and it hasn't worked. So we had some more people working on it this morning. After this call, I'll go and check. Please come back. I know several of you have been saying, I need to buy some sessions for next year. Some of you have started sessions up again this week and you want to keep going. And don't worry, we're going to get it fixed and I'll send it out with the replay. Okay, and tomorrow we have Lisa Barnett. So a reason I reached out to Lisa is she's a little meteor. She's got 2 books out this year, and she's a phenomenal, out of all the people I've talked to, been interviewed by, or interviewed. She's one of those authentic people that I keep coming back around to, and I feel like a soul sister with her. We've talked about doing some retreats together, potentially traveling together, and we just really enjoy the work we do, and each of us do. She's an Akashic Records specialist, and you'll see all of her information is already under the thing for tomorrow, and I don't have a proper thumbnail for tomorrow, so I used the beautiful 7 Sacred Sisters and Soul Powers graphic and art that my beloved made. I think it's wonderful. And this is what's happening. So we're talking about awakening the sacred feminine, and we're talking about the equinox that we're in right now. So Joan of Angels came on, and I got so many comments and so much feedback about that, and I'm super excited because Joan and I have known each other for about 4 years. I found her during the pandemic, and and we've gone our separate ways and interviewed each other and been on shows and, you know, just done this dance. And she popped into my head in February, and I just immediately picked up my phone. Hey, how you doing? We should connect soon. Boom, put it down. Seconds later, I get a text back. Oh my gosh, I've been thinking about you. I want to talk to you about doing a retreat. And boom, we started planning a retreat for another company. And that's didn't work out in the end. We went through several months of some wonderful creations. And what it did instead, right now, who knows what will happen in the future, is Joan and I got a chance to start to work together in a different way and get to know each other in a different way. And believe it or not, we haven't even met in person. And yet we've really, there's been a dynamic connection. So clearly karmic, clearly past life, or whatever you want to call it. Excuse me. Num, 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 num. Okay. I hope you didn't have to hear that. And what's happened is that she's grown and changed, and these huge doorways have opened on her spiritual path, and she keeps stepping in. Joan is 74. So if you have an excuse in your life of not following your heart and your bliss, I'm telling you, do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now. You don't know if you'll have the health. You don't know if somebody else will be there. You don't know if that place will be open. You don't know whether we'll be able to fly freely between countries. We've seen all this stuff happen. We cannot discount anything because we are in a metamorphosis. So if your heart calls you, it's your imaginal cell. And I want you to realize that your imaginal cell is programmed by your soul, and it is linked to Gaia, and it is like a little alarm clock. And so when you start to feel called to something, you are going to immediately go into your human identity story. And that's the story that the masculine side, the logical side, the reasonable side, the side that says we do need a calendar, and we do need to know where we're going, and we do need to map it, and we should look where the money is, and we should take care of this. And that's the masculine energy, and it should be doing that. It's just that we've confused that with the roles people are playing in our lives. Excuse me, as if we cannot be both of those for ourselves, or we cannot exist within a reality where many people are a part of our support system or our pillars of light. So one of my clients today, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm channeling in a bigger way. It's different. But I'm going into these dimensions, and the vividness of the experience. That's why I love the equinox. You will see your skills raise. You will see your sensitivities heightened if you haven't already noticed that. And there's a balance to it. So the balance is for you to be, oh, look, I can see this without being in my fear or without being pulled in other directions. But you're going to see the imbalance because it doesn't vibrate with the balance of the equinox. So when you're called to something, like it didn't occur to me to travel right now because my beloved and his seizure, but he's getting better and he can't come, but should I go? And, you know, money and business and blah, and blah, and blah, and family. And so, you know, so everything everybody has, that's our human world. And there's that part of us needs to take care of it, or needs to accept more support in taking care of it, or needs to say to ourselves and our soul, listen, if I have this mission, then I need people in my life. I need structures in my life. I need opportunities in my life. I need people in my life. I need whatever it is that will open the door to this path if that's what I'm called to do. So the sacred feminine needs to rise again because it's been repressed and suppressed, because it's been devalued, ignored, called names like witches and all kinds of things. And any level of intuitive power is very scary to people who perceive they have power, people who perceive they have control. So any authority figure in our reality is losing their power through fear. Yeah, they're showing me like this people standing on a mountain and everything's just melting and pouring off the sides. And it's almost like a tidal wave onto all of us. So as we deconstruct this reality, the most powerful thing we can do is learn who we are. The Delphian Oracle, the Oracle at Delphi was respected. It was one of the most wealthy places, and that's part of what we're going to activate in the first week of October. Now I have one spot that just opened, so if you want to come, please reach out, because this is a soul calling, and this is one of those moments they're talking about right now where are you not taking a step towards your soul calling because of all of these reasons, and that is often comes through the masculine in our lives, the father or the father figure or the authority figure, the bank or the banker or the husband or whatever, saying no. You can't, you don't, you won't. Because as the intuitive sacred feminine flows, it flows in and out of dimensions. It flows into the intuitive, it flows into form. It understands being in form, it understands growing form, it understands birthing form, but first it must receive. The sacred feminine that's rising is you. You have to decide to receive. If you don't receive, you have nothing to give, and you're depleted, and you're done, and you can't do it anymore. And this is coming through. If you don't step out of your life now, you will get sucked back into the mundane. And the mundane is not that, oh, okay, you have to, mow your lawn or something. You have to pay your rent. It shouldn't be a stress. It should just be something that's over here. Pay the rent, blah, 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 blue. And you don't worry about it every single day. I've been there. I used to wake up covered in sweat. So wet the bed was, I had to put 1 or 2 towels in order to go back to bed. During my divorce, during my bankruptcy, I had literally nothing. I got disowned by my family. It was all of my karma coming back to complete patterns. The sacred feminine within us understands that. It speaks the intuitive languages. It speaks the language of the heart, but it speaks the language of the womb. What does that mean? The womb is a sacred space. It is revered. It is protected. Look where it is. It's padded. When you feel threatened or you don't feel safe or you're afraid of your own power, you often put on weight right here. I know all about it. Now I don't have an attachment to all the weight I used to put on and carry, because back then I was trying to please everybody. I was trying not to be too much. I was seeking myself with great yearning. I was trying to express myself, and to the world it looked like I was, but inside I was still attached to the whole story of who I was supposed to be and what I had to do, and I was bored at some level of my spirit. Just friggin' bored. And the truth is, I couldn't admit that because I had so much going on. But even when I asked for a separation from my 23, at that point, 23, 24 years marriage, and I still loved him very much, but I couldn't live with him. And I said, neither of us are happy. This isn't good. This can't go on. And don't you want to be free to be loved by somebody who really loves you and sees you, who enjoys you, who uplifts you, who you can uplift, instead of slogging through misery, carrying all this shit about the story? Well, it wasn't just our 23, 25, 26 years by the time we were done. Marriage, it was many other lifetimes. And for each of us, it was many other patterns within this life that gave us an opportunity to bring all of that stuff to completion. Now, did it complete just with the divorce? No, the divorce was the next level of destruction because of the beliefs and the energy in it that I was a bad person because I wanted out and everybody was blaming me. Then I started to take the story on. So it's okay, we've played deep in the story. We're going to keep playing deep. We're playing at a higher level now, though. So the equinox, I keep thinking eclipse because I'm leaving on the equinox and I'm coming back after the eclipse. And so going to Greece, I mean, I kept seeing and I kept going deeper. I don't want to do this if it's, selfish or if it's for the wrong reasons. I don't want to do this if it's just like, wow, that sounds like fun. It had to be sacred. It had to be part of my soul path because there's a lot of things going on for everybody. And I need to stay on my path. I'm not interested in doing anything that is leaving my path in a way that is not optimal. Now, if I'm told, you know what? One of my clients was told in a session this week to not do anything for the next 3 weeks. And we looked at the clock and we saw, oh, that's around the eclipse. So she's coming to Greece with me this time. Then she'll return around the 8th. And that will give her a week of integration at home that would then, as she goes through the eclipse, because that's a portal, it's big change, doesn't matter who you are, it'll take you in a new direction, it might knock you on your ass, you may not feel it at all. It's not to scare you, it's to have respect that this is the terrain we're going through, and because we're evolving so fast now, if we don't reaccess our intuitive powers and decide to be the inner authority, the authority in our lives, we almost all came with the sole fear of authority. And it's because we are all here right now, and fear of authority has to be melted and has to be released, because if it isn't, then we will always give in to an outer authority. And we have to be able to melt that attachment, fill our aura with shimmering essences, this is just the way I see it, and then allow that to infuse into us, to be like the womb, protected like the womb. Our aura is like that lining, is like everything around the womb that is the space. It's the sacred space. Now, I'm talking metaphorically, energetically, spiritually, symbolically, and yet, of course, if you're in a woman's body, you have these parts and you might manifest diseases or issues in any area here. Could be bowels, could be bladder, could be, whatever, could be belly even, right? And we know that the physicality, anything that shows up in the physical, even an accident, quote unquote, I just happened to get hit by a car. No, you didn't. All started at another level of you. And until you tap back into your spiritual healing, into your intuitive guidelines, into the senses that bring you in touch with the sacred feminine, but you can't, because only certain aspects of the sacred feminine have been allowed to be open to us. Like every other aspect of allowing the sacred feminine to be revered, to be supported, to be given that space of like, please do your thing, just be fabulous. And then sacred masculine just creating space and safety and beauty, and then being fed by that sacred feminine dancing within its beautiful structure it gave so that the two could bring form. And so the symbolic meaning is that we have been programmed so deeply that women don't have power, or can't have power, or too emotional, or this or that, or whatever, goes on and on. And then we've had periods, of course, where women had no power, had no vote, had no this, and we still have unequal pay, and we still have patriarchal structures, we call them. And what we need to do is shift from seeing that as a gender thing to seeing that as an age we went through that we're coming out of. And we're coming out of a long 26,000 year cycle into a new golden age. The golden age, however, that we enter depends on us. So the more of us who awaken, the more of us who come to these global meditations, the more of us do conscious work and make your spiritual work, your meditation, whatever you do to bring yourself peace, beauty, step out of abuse, step out of people yelling at you, give no one an excuse to abuse you. I don't care if they're sick. I don't care if they're old. I don't care who they are. You do not have to continue to accept any form of abuse or any form of criticism, because it is no one else's opinion who you are. They do not know who you are, and you are not here to be anyone's slave, anybody's whipping boy, or play out any more of these patterns. They're friggin' done. We need to wake up. What we're hearing now is it's been almost 10 years since 2012. That these ended, that a platform of unity happened. And this session today, these 9 pillars of sacred feminine goddess kind of energies appeared around her. And the first goddess that appeared next to her was it was like looking at or being inside of I don't know, I have to look up the age. I was an art history major, but maybe the 1600s, when they would paint mythical paintings like ancient Greece or ancient Rome, and you would see the ruins because they loved the stories and the myths. And the myth might be even being acted out with the gods and goddesses or angels, but then they're dressed like that era, like with but the colors were very glowing, were very luminous. And the energy of this was the beauty of this goddess that was floating next to her left side. and helping her to release some things in her heart chakra, and floating above and continuously trying to put this beautiful luminous gold white light ribbon around her head, down on her head. And I kept thinking, she can't, you have to, and so I brought it up and I'm like, you have to let her put it on your head. And she just goes, no, it is on her head. I've put it in her aura, right over her crown. I just keep doing it again because I keep repeating that flow. It's not like, here's once. I want you to know there's abundance. And it turned out to be Iris. And the more we were there, the more details and beauty. And it was just so stylized and so beautiful. And she was working up in the 9th chakra, which is above the soul star, the higher self, in the soul blueprint. And Iris is the ancient Greek goddess of the rainbow. And the sacred feminine energies, we will be working in Greece, of course, with some of the sacred masculine. We love them all. The point is to bring balance. And because it's the equinox, tomorrow, I know Lisa's passionate personally. She went a year or two ago, she went to 3 continents and realized afterwards that that was her soul calling her to activate pyramids in 3 continents. And sacred places. So you don't really know, why am I called to go to Greece? Why am I called to go to Greece? Well, I don't know, sounds really cool, but not convenient for my life, and so on and so on and so on. And all the healing that I've had, all the shit I've let go of, all the identity I've let go of, all of what the life I have created as a comfort zone was perfect. I live in a sanctuary. I have my own home on the beach. My beloved is healing. We have just, I mean, it's exquisite, truly exquisite. I went for an ocean swim this morning. I can swim all year long. Everything is just exquisite. And now my body is shifting and it's changing and it's losing weight and it's starting to vibrate higher. And I'm holding more and more luminous energy, and the channelings and the healings are going to a whole new level. Why? Well, because that's the moment and that's what's happening. But why is it now accelerated since the Greece thing came? Because I walked into this cave of darkness and fear. I walked through it. I went through nights where I was filled with doom and gloom, and I thought, if I do this, my whole family will die. All the most horrible things will happen. Didn't make sense in the head. This is the past life fears coming out. And once that's clear and you stay with it and you don't run from it, you become empowered. You are now Hercules, you're Perseus, you're the hero, you're the heroine. You've gone through the darkness, you've gone through the underworld, and now you begin to emerge. But what happens as you begin to emerge? You don't get to just waltz out. The fears keep coming after you. They keep chasing you. You have to use your new powers, your new wisdom. If you don't, and say, oh, I have to wait. Oh, I have to be practical. Oh, I don't know. What if I make the wrong thing? This is too much. I've never done this before. Whatever, ever, okay? Now, I'm not telling you just do something and screw your life. No, I'm telling you get better at your intuition so you know what the true answer of your soul is, not your ego, not your fear, not other people, and not the divine masculine that's been telling us, no, wait, go do it this way, do it my way. You don't really know. You can't trust yourself. Now, we are turning into those who trust ourselves. So let's go into some deeper equinox energies and really allow this to come. Interestingly, I pulled some cards. So I wanted to do a couple cards for me the other day. I think it was yesterday. And wow, that's juicy and sour and delicious, and I can't stop sucking it out of my mouth. Woo. I hope you're getting some juiciness too in your life. Woo-hoo. So this is a deck called the Sacred Spirit deck, I think. And here we go. I want to make sure people get the Sacred Spirit reading cards by Anna Stark. Okay. And I have cards all over, and I was sitting on the couch doing something, and I rolled over, and they rolled into my lap. So I said, okay. And 2 cards fell out for me. So these are the 2 cards I got. And I find them interesting and relevant for a couple of reasons. The owl is the symbol of Athena, and Athena is the main goddess to me in Greece, and who I was connected to. I've also been a priestess in her sanctuaries. There is a sanctuary to Athena in Delphi, which we will be going to. So when we go to Delphi, we're reawakening the divine feminine in the structures, the respect that it had and that the oracle had, and those powers within us. Not just the powers of our intuitive gifts and because that will take a leap. We're also activating the wealth and respect that what existed in that time, and it's still in the stones of the temples they built. Even when Apollo took over for the oracle to be channeling through him, the masculine energy, he was still the radiant one and a prophecy god and of music and beauty. And so he was able to bring the wealth to Delphi because of the structure. And so this is what we're looking at. We're looking at Saturn as we go forward. We're in a phase where Saturn, which is about structure and rules and restrictions for the expertise, for the very best. And we're doing this in a very watery, intuitive place. So what we're going to be seeing is the structure of respect and wealth coming back to the sacred feminine arts. Intuitives, healers, respecting people's visions, dreams, and so on. That's why you're seeing an explosion. So Athena has an owl that represents her ability to see the truth through everything. Always been a big deal to me. And so I got this. In this deck, it's called Mindful Wisdom, Create Inner Harmony. And it's a 28, which is a 30, which is a 3. So if this has a message for you, please receive that. That was, of course, Athena speaking to me. That was my message from that. And I've been working very deeply with a new audio I made for the Sacred Spirit Circle, which you can join if you want. It's in the shop. And it's called Enlighten, and it's a gold sun, gold ray bath. And it's just, wow. I do it once or twice a day, and it's 15 minutes or something, and it becomes the deepest healing. And so then this came to me. This looks exactly how I feel. It's just pouring into me, pouring over me. And it says, divine will, let go of fear. And it's a 12. All right, a very, very master number. And combined, that's a 3, which is Trinity, and another master number. So for me, again, this has deeper even than what I just explained to you, but has very profound things for me. Because like I said, I've had to let go of fear and walk through a lot of this stuff on my path to go to Greece right now. The other thing that's happened, though, from it, and I don't know what will work out or how it will work out, we don't know. We have to step into this without requiring things, without requiring guarantees, right? We need to step into our soul path and listen to our heart and trust it, and know that we may make some misinterpretations of the messages along the way. And yet the sooner you drop in, the sooner the doors. And right now I can tell you that almost everybody I'm doing sessions with for the last couple of weeks, doors are opening. It's like you're walking the Equinox portal with doors open. Some people's are just not locked and they're all opening this way. Some are there and they appear as you get closer to them, but they're closed, and there's different ways for all of that to happen. So if you're interested in Greece, and you want to come in October, like I said, I have a spot and I can give you the discounted price. It's not on the website anymore because somebody has not coming. And then I also have planned, because of this, is to do a one with Joan of Angels in May. So all those links are below. You can see everything that we're up to, and let us know if you book before Samhain, before the 31st, before Day of the Dead and all that. Then we have a special gift for you worth $500, which is a private session with each of us. And this trip is soul sisters coming together. And like I told you, we are awakening Gaia. We are awakening the sacred feminine. We are awakening the ancient oracle. We are awakening the wealth and the respect of the oracle and the sacred feminine arts. We are going to the ancient healing temples of Asclepios, who, again, we have to understand the masculine and the feminine. So Asclepios, I have to go practice that, was the god of healing. And these are what became hospitals. These are why we think of Greece as the father, the birther of modern medicine, because they started out as spiritual temples. They were temples to the god of healing, and you would go through a process. You would come, and it was like a spa, and it even had a theater, and it had a stadium to work out in, and baths, and all kinds of things. And then over time, more and more healing arts were added. And these were all over Greece, and most people have never heard of them. And what was beautiful is they started out as a channel for you to go directly to the gods, to source, to your divine, whatever you call your authority. So it doesn't matter if we're calling them gods or goddesses or whatever. We are not talking religion. We are saying energy from the divine, from our highest good, in connection with our soul plan, so it knows what's for our highest good, is coming through to me. And they would go and spend the night after a preparation and reading miracles of healings and being bathed. They would go into this temple and they would receive direct communication through their dreams from God, from this God. However, guess what? The God was who they named the temple for, because he's the divine masculine of healing. What is the divine masculine? The divine masculine has to hold space, has to protect, has to create the space and make it strong and allow the sacred feminine to be within it. So his temple structure being exactly what the divine feminine should be, then he would appear with his daughters, who were what I call the pillars of healing. His daughters were the goddess Hygeia, where we get health or hygiene from, of all kinds of healing. And you will often see her standing behind one of his shoulders, looking over as he's there connecting to the patient as they sleep. In the morning, he also has the goddess Panacea, right? Panacea, you know what that is. So they're all amazing. We're going to connect to these goddesses. So through that sacred masculine, we are awakening both the balance of the sacred masculine at the time when it could embody a spiritual, divine feminine, intuitive connection direct to source for your healing. Then you would tell your dream or what happened to you during the night to the healers or the wise people there, who would interpret it for you and then make a plan of healing for you. So this is what we're going to be awakening as well. And if you would like to contribute or to help or to receive some special videos or something, I'm going to put up a little donation button if you want, because I'm doing this for spirit. I'm not making money. I'm basically trying to make enough money to, hoping to make enough money, planning to make enough money. No, I am going to, at some level, make enough money to pay for the trip. However, because it's a soul path, I had to walk through that part of it and say, there is a way for this to happen. And I'm doing it by not disrespecting my path, my family, and my obligations, while still listening to my soul path, which is why we have to listen to our intuitive side, because it is going to show us a new container, a new way. It is going to take us out of the structure we thought, and it's going to give us a bit of a shaking up, because we've been light workers and intuitives inside of a system that doesn't recognize us, and that's going to be shifting. Next year is a dragon year. It's a male, masculine, yang dragon year. That's a very intense year. The more people who are helping me right now, who are gathering wherever you feel called to awaken the sacred feminine, give it respect, give it knowledge, give it reverence, give it a voice, give it something. I don't care if it's the river near your house or the clouds or the sun. The full moon next week. Find the sacred feminine somewhere and give it a channel for you to receive it, to be nourished by it, and then be willing to be a little more relaxed about that becoming part of your life. We've all had lives where we were burned at the stake, where we were killed, where we were confused, where we were accused, where we were used. And everyone on the planet has had that in their other lives, and that's part of what's coming right now. So the lives where you had the powers of light, healing, and the sacred feminine, the wisdom of the sacred feminine, whether you were like me, I have 2-3 lives that I know about in the Oracle of Delphi. I know I was a priestess for Athena, could have been at other temples as well, and I knew and still know where the sacred, springs were. I don't think you can get to them anymore. When I was at Delphi as a child. And so it's not important that you have that, although if you go on these kinds of things, you probably will. But why does that come forward to you? I think I was this, I think I was that. Well, you could say, oh, I think I was Isis. Well, a lot of people feel like they were Isis because they were in the schools of Isis. They were in service to Isis. They were embodying Isis. They were bringing in what is Isis? Divine, feminine, goddess, mother energy. The energy that is unconditional and accelerated healing. She is the same part of the Trinity as is represented by with Jesus and Mary. She's the mother of Horus, who was considered the one who is the all-seeing eye right here. Okay, and that's actually the middle of your brain. So you and I have these access to these divine energies because they have been a part of us. So you have parts in your soul that already know how to connect. You can start to ask for those parts to come back together. The first thing that will happen is resistance or fear, blocks or cravings, whatever. You're going to feel this kind of like awkwardness. It's not going to feel comfortable. If you've just gone on a big journey and you feel called to another journey, and then your logical side is saying you shouldn't do that right now, you should just stay home and be practical for a little while, or you feel like you want to stay home and you made a plan to go with somebody and you're like, I don't want to go. I feel really, I feel like it's not my fear holding me back. I feel like it's my spirit telling me be here alone, or go this other place and just sit with nature. So that inner authority is part of what the divine feminine needs from you. We need to bring permission to listen to it, to value it, to respect it, and start to raise it back into energy where it is heard and it's seen. When we hear and see it and receive it in us, then we gift that through our auric field into our families, into where we go, into our businesses. The equinox is here to give us this place of equal night and day. Now, whether you live somewhere where it's equal night or day or it's exact, this is the most balanced time of the year. So for the next 6 months, we're going to be in what they call, depending where you live, you're either going into spring or you're going into autumn. You're going into things are dying, things are completing, things are harvesting. You're going into the womb for resting, for composting, for releasing. You might be going into new growth, for coming out after you've just had that cycle. We have to respect the cycles because the sacred feminine has cycles just like everything else, but those cycles are so prominent because they're part of our intuitive powers. When we understand that the full moon and other phases of the moon have a profound effect on the oceans and on the magnetic grids and on people's moods and emotions, even men, and on our other parts of our body or our womb or our sacral center or our heart, or things, if you were in a moon maiden priesthood, if you used to do magic with the moon, or if you used to go to certain sacred places and connect to the moon, if you used to be somebody who worked at night outside like a shepherd or something once, maybe that's your connection to ancient Greece or ancient Rome or wherever you feel called. There's so many aspects that could come back because power is not just through, I was a goddess, I was a priestess, I was a king. Okay, you can have very ordinary lives where maybe you were the advisor to the important person, or you were the expert that taught all of the famous people, or you were a mentor or a supporter of a place that taught wisdom and knowledge. I know the sacred wisdom is coming back, and I know that it requires us to decide that our inner authority cannot function without the sacred feminine. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in a little bit further. I feel some more things coming up. Take a deep breath in. Always when you release it, watch it. Use your senses. Did it go down? Did it go out? Did it dissipate? Did it turn purple? Did it look like a mist? Did it what? If you say, I don't know, that's okay. Now just look next time. Imagine. Start to receive your senses. Your intuitive feminine senses are always there. They're in various degrees of being connected, clogged, upgraded, old, disconnected, rusted, and just plain outdated, because they cannot handle the bandwidth of information and the higher and higher frequencies that are coming from the sun and the moon, from the earth and from your soul's blueprint. Take a deep breath in. Thank you, thank you, thank you to this beautiful equinox energies. When you let it go down your pillar of light, bringing light. Like all the center of your body is lighting up, and it goes through the sacral, the root, through the foot chakra, the earth star, and down into Gaia. It continues to go through Gaia, comes out the other side of her central heart, moving through the crystals, the dirt, moving through the rocks and the minerals, moving through the waters and the liquids, moving through all of the ages of her wisdom. As this light penetrates through her, you are a part of sending the divine power of the sun and the moon and the yin and the yang through time and space. That light now exits the other side of her body and moves through the auric field of Gaia and out, moving through time and space. We ask that this pillar of light from our heart be delivered to those lives that need the heart-to-heart connection with us. We ask in this time of balance that the truth of who we are, warrior, mother, father, healer, chef, dreamer, architect, builder, artist, lover, revolutionary, from slave to king, from knight to princess. The archetypes are alive, and we are emerging from them. They have been like a cocoon. They have been like a cocoon. Life has been organized along these lines and these stories. You now take a deep breath and draw the energy back up from infinity, through the earth, through Gaia's heart, up through your earth star chakra, through your foot chakra, up the legs, the knees, into the root, expanding and spreading through the sacral, dawning in the solar plexus, rises back into your heart. I am complete. I have given and received. I have released, and I have nourished, replenished. I now free myself and all other parts of myself. The past has power for me, not over me. I accept the wisdom, whether I know my life or not. The timelines are now open. I am Isis, and I am here. You now have the Ankh. I hand it to you. It is heavy. It is as if it's made from the heaviest metal you've ever sensed, because it is laden with life force. It is here in the Equinox that I can reach across this rainbow bridge that Iris has made for us. This goddess of the rainbow, that Arc de Iris is named for in Spanish. It's the word for rainbow. It literally means irises, arc. She is the keeper of harmony, of the full color spectrum beyond, in all levels and layers. She flows with the most divine feminine energy, and she is here to continue to lay a rainbow bridge before you if you are willing to step through one of these doors that your soul is opening now. She is guiding you with a rainbow coming up from your heart and out in front of you. You can always look for the arc of truth, the beauty and love that she brings from the Parthenon, the temple, the supreme temple of Athena. She too is here now, holding for you the strength. She rose as the patron of the most powerful place in this ancient world in the land of gods. It was not a masculine energy. It was Athena. She was not a god of war. She was a goddess of protection and strength, wisdom and truth. She protects from the physical up, and she holds the power of the Aegean. This is a shield. Could be worn on the body, could be held. It's a shield against your own inner demons and holds the life force for transmutation, shedding of the old, and birthing your new self. You are ready to be birthed from the mind of God, Source, the void. You are ready for the next stage of your evolution. This is the moment you can see it, touch it, and taste it. Take the next 3 days to savor it, to download it, to listen to it, to give it priority and preference over every thought you have, to stay mundane. Magic is arising. It is arising in the land. The crystals have awakened from the times of Atlantis, Lemuria, and Mu. The times beyond the star gates that have opened. All of the peoples who have come and gone that you've called gods or aliens or star people, wisdom keepers, whatever they are here. We are one. All time is merging into one. It is not a place to know the truth. There is no truth. The truth is your truth. You must, too, birth yourself. This rebirth is possible now because as you bring yourself through the second half of the equinox, we have brought you Akashic records experts. We have brought you divine sacred women, teachers, who are opening portals in Egypt and are opening portals in Mount Shasta and are opening portals in Maya land and Greece and on, from Sedona to Peru, all across the world, in Glastonbury, in the Celtic circles of Ireland and Scotland, throughout Scandinavia, down Europe, Africa, Australia, Asia, from Bali to China. We are now calling for the awakening of the divine feminine, for the consciousness to use this moment and open the portal for all cultures, for all people, for all genders, for those who have lived on earth before and asked to be freed into the new world of co-creation, possibility, and higher frequencies of divine love and understanding. We call now to all those who are ready and willing to step into this timeline with us and walk. Raise this within you. Trust that if you release the fear, because there is no fear when there is a new life being created. The fear is not allowed into the sacred chamber, the womb of Gaia, or the womb of a body, the womb of the mind, or the birth of a civilization. When those came from Atlantis to birth Egypt, to birth the Yucatan, to birth all of these cultures across the land, to spread and preserve the wisdom for the day that we could understand it, that our hearts would open and become crystalline again. That day is here. That day is now. Next year you will encounter a very fierce transformational force. Your quest is going to a new level. There will no longer be the time to say, oh, I'll get around to that. Oh, I'll heal that later. I'll drag that around forever. You must let your identity shed. You must let the power of the sacred serpent, the divine power of the sun, teach you to wind through the ups and downs. Leave behind your skin, your limits, your identity. Rise back into your spirit and your truth. You now have everything you've desired, you've craved, you've called. You've called from a prison so dark and deep, no one really knew what you were reaching for. But it is here. It is at your fingertips. And the bars are not there, but you are still standing behind them. You reach with your dirty hands, wishing that you could be free from this prison, but you are. And I now gift you. I now gift you with the truth. See this sign. See this wisdom, the truth of your own authority. See your crown open. See the cycles completed, the past flying away, the timelines dissipating, tangling, coming back into one. There is no definition of who, what, where, why. Now there is no time. In no time. The only time is now. Now is the time. If you are not free, you are floating in no time. If you do not accept your power, you do not have power. If you do not believe in your power, you do not have power. If you do not allow your divine feminine powers to rise, you will not be able to birth the world that you were designed to create. And that creation must be birthed now. The harvest of the full moon will be something profound, and you will never recognize yourself again. The vaults that have been locked within you are never to be locked again. You will be free. You will be floating. You will be confused or perhaps disoriented. You will be uncertain because you do not understand that the time of equality and equanimity is here, that you can have things and not have to sacrifice, that you can have it now and not have to wait. Not if it's an ego. You must check that and let it go. Allow the rainbow bridge that Iris lays for you now. It is filled with the joy, the hummingbirds, the dolphins, the sacred feminine comes. Yes, even in the times of death and darkness. Sacred Gaia is here. She never goes. Demeter is here. She never goes. Demeter, the goddess of ancient Greece, the mother of life. In the spring, she brings all life back, all flowering, all leaves, all beauty, all abundance. This is our gift from this divine mother. And yet, her daughter, Persephone, after playing with her from spring to autumn, and now we move. You move from one to the other. Where are you on this cycle? If you move to autumn, something precious to you that you have birthed now moves into the shadow world. Persephone went back down to Hades. She went to the underworld. This is not hell. This is not religion. This is not the devil. This is the truth. We are yin and yang. We are shadow, and we are masculine, and we are physical. And we are also the divine and the light. We are the subtle energies of the soul. So this is only the cycle. Now she moves into being, and she is here, Persephone. She says, you do not need to fear the dark. You think that my story says I was dragged here, I was forced here, that the divine masculine forced me to come and refused to let me go, and that my mother had to beg for me, and that she mourns me, and this causes the death. And this is a lie. This is a lie that has been perpetrated through time. This is a lie to disempower the sacred feminine. Do you not see that the sacred feminine must be the above and the below, the light and the dark? The yin must be filled. And I am the youth. I am the new. Isn't it what we need to have the wise in the light, to have the youth in the dark, to have the potential? I love deeply and form a bond with my divine partner. He comes now to hold the space for me, to walk through the shadows and to rise stronger with more love, to reunite with the divine feminine of my mother, of Demeter. And then together we share the bounty, but only because I have taken the seeds into the underworld. And we have created a womb from the sacred masculine, where I tend to the seeds, where the composting happens, where the nourishing begins, and where your seeds of the truth of the new world and the new you. So now you know that what we embody is not these exaggerated human dramas of fear and pain. Look deeper. Know that this is the moment. This is the moment. If you are in the south, I am rising back again. Look for me to bring the seeds to you. Look for the abundance. Praise and respect the sacred feminine, bringing the seeds and new life. If you are in the autumnal equinox, then you are now releasing the life force of the summer and the vibrant life. And now this is the harvest. So between now and through the full moon, enjoy the harvest, celebrate what you have done, celebrate all the life force you have had, and prepare by gathering your seeds. Through this, harvest everything that is grown. And know that you are taking it deep into your soul and your sacral. You will be birthed again. For those of you who live where nothing dies, you are the gatekeepers, you are the wisdom keepers of eternal life. You are in the infinite flow of eternal divine river. You know and you hold the conduit for the rest of the world, the above and the below. You are the connection, and you are the ones that say, yes, life is here. The sun is here. Life force is here. Beauty is here. While you see at the same moment branches die, decay, fall away, feed the others, also at the same moment there is life force. Sacred feminine holds death, birth, holds receptivity to receive the inspiration to create. It holds every stage, waning and waxing. This is what you're here to do. Bring balance to your mind, to your body, to all that is. By aligning with your sacred, intuitive, feminine powers, give it a voice. Speak to the earth with every step. Listen deeply before you decide. Allow the moment to speak to you within. We give thanks to these divine, sacred, feminine energies, masculine energies, the above, the below, and within, to this divine equinox in the portal that we walk together, to this moment of profound metamorphosis and the upleveling of our skills. And we ask for the call to go to all of those with love and light, that a rainbow bridge is opening before you, beneath you, over you from your heart. The pathways are here. Follow the joy, follow the love. Everything else will be there. Follow the joy, follow your heart. Everything else will be there. You are supported. You are loved. You are complete, and you are beginning. You are the beginning. You are the end. You are the above and the below. Now, these sacred, divine, feminine containers of Athena and Persephone, of Demeter, Virus, and all those supporting energies, and all the sacred places on the land and in the waters of Gaia, from her primordial mission to bring earth and life, and to the next birthing. May we all move forward and receive this harvest with presence, respect. Allow it to be rich. Value it greatly. Know that you are being honored, respected, given. All that you desire is here. Will you walk the sacred way and pick it up? Will you say yes and allow yourself to be free of the story you have walked and lived? Your divine, sacred, feminine container is already here. We give great thanks to this moment, to these energies, to the paths that we are all on as they weave, crossing at times as soul sisters and brothers, holding hands at temples, pyramids, rivers, and crystal vortexes, standing alone yet feeling our hearts linked at sunsets, moons, beautiful vistas, and moments of loss, pain, uncertainty, release, rebirth, release. Be freed into this place where your sacred self is ready to create, not from your life, after your life. Yet you do not need to pass from your body to begin to create the next life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. May this circle be open, yet unbroken. And we declare, and so it is, that I am now connected to these divine, sacred, feminine powers, and I am here to support, love, and see, to accept as true the awakening of the sacred feminine, the rebalancing of our divine earth, and the beauty, love, wealth, and respect rise again, connecting to our navels in our 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, 9D, 10, 11, 12, 13. We awaken the galactic goddess. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'm sure we've gone long. I have no concept of time still. I'm really expanded. The sessions I've been doing, especially today at this peak of the equinox, are quite profound. I have deep clarity. If you've worked with me, you know I'm very accurate in my channeling. I have a lot of skills, abilities, wisdom, and all of this. It's all wonderful. This is a different level. This is like leaving what you've created as your container of expertise or trust or comfort in who you are. And by leaving it saying, I know, I accept that this is true. I'm not going to doubt myself anymore. I'm not going to say, oh, maybe I'm not that good, or maybe this, or maybe that, or whatever, yada, yada. It's like, yes, stamped, done. And now I'm playing in the infinite field. And it's much more amorphous, is that the right word, than you might imagine. There's much more possibility for things to shift and change in a much shorter time frame. Part of what we're being called to do by reconnecting with the sacred feminine is understanding that intuitive knowledge is way richer and way more powerful than any logical knowledge. Even with all of our satellites and weather input and this and that, your intuitive knowledge will be, whether or not you believe it, honed to a point where it is your number one way of knowing what for you to do in each moment. If an earthquake happened, and it was really epic, and I was in a mega epic earthquake when I lived in LA, and I was in the fashion design industry, and I was in the factory. I was the assistant designer, and the floors were concrete. It's just a big concrete building. The walls are concrete, no glamour, okay? And then inside the designer's room, the walls are all mirrors, very high, like 2 stories. And every piece of concrete turned to liquid. And the floors began to roll like waves. They were liquid. The walls with the mirrors began to roll like waves. I don't know how many seconds or how many minutes it lasted, felt like forever. While part of you was in fear, trying to decide, where do I go? You could not help other people. You did not have time. You could not decide for somebody else. Is it better for them to run down the hall and go outside? Is it better for them to go under the table, go into the doorway? What's the optimal thing? You cannot save other people in this moment because your reality has no stability. There is no security. There is no safety within the construct of what you think is true. And this is the way the world is becoming. This is the world you have to get used to. Your inner authority is going to guide you every time. It doesn't mean if you actually are in an earthquake and you break your foot, you did a wrong thing. You shouldn't have broke your foot. We can't do that anymore. We have to take every single thing accepted in the moment as what's optimal for whatever reason. This was the best path my soul could find right now. Okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? Not why this happened, poor me, I'm backwards, I got stopped. Never, ever, ever again are you ever meant to do that, because you cannot create from there. If you're going to be a part of this sacred light, and I say sacred sisterhood, it doesn't mean that men can't be a part of it. This is the attunement of your divine feminine back to a state of balance, because it is severely depleted. And even those leaders that we perceive as in balance with their feminine, some of them are, but not a lot. The ones that are really like in your face with the feminine fear is no different than the other side of that intensity. Now, if that particular conversation is appealing to you in a moment, go with it. Maybe it's an exploration. Maybe it's a way of poking something within you to get it to come up. You angrily say, fuck this shit, I'm not carrying it anymore. Get it out of your system and move on. Great. Okay? But don't stay there, because fear is not sacred feminine power. Fear has been perpetrated on the sacred feminine. Fear is of the sacred feminine. Nobody wants you to have your own power. Nobody wants you to believe in yourself. Nobody, because everybody is living from their own fear. They want to control you and everything else in the world. They want everyone to behave the way that they want. And the less conscious they are, and the more full of fear they are, and this could be parts of you, or this could be people you know or live with, the more they want to insist and criticize and do whatever they can to piss on the party, to make sure that your powers do not raise, or that you do not follow your intuitive path, or that you do not go down that path of some crazy leap to go on some crazy trip to Greece. And I'm very blessed. I have incredible support. My divine partner is so much beyond the beloved and the Mayan brother that we were together doing incredible deep magic in ancient lives, or all the other lives. I saw 7 to 8 lives that we had together over the first few months that we were together. That was quite an exploration. And sacred and non, just all kinds of different lives that were relevant to us coming together to complete patterns in this life and to take us from where we were, where we thought we were on our life path. I was coming out of a divorce. He was coming out of a business partner stealing everything. I was coming out of, bankruptcy. And we came together, and there was just so karmic, and then everything fell apart in my life and a little bit in his life. And there we were, floating down the river together. And it was like, do we see this as pain and well, it was painful, but, you know, as bad. And it took a long time, and it was very difficult sometimes. And yet I can see the purpose for it now. And I can promise you, it doesn't matter where you are on your path. You are on a sacred path, and you will be there very soon to where you're meant to go. So I've asked for a sacred animal to come to us from this deck, and it's the panther. It's the panther spirit. Reclaim your power. Oh my gosh. You all probably know I'm a jaguar girl, which is a panther too. There you are. And I've been initiated into a lot of jaguar wisdom, jaguar medicine. Woman downloaded from Jaguar Skulls, work with Vian. Jaguar Ekbalam is a guide of mine. And this is the panther aspect. And when I was in town yesterday, there was a bus painted pink. And it had hand-painted pink, and it had painted on it, La Pantera Rosa, the pink panther. 44, perfect balance for the equinox. Wow, this is an incredible card. This tells you so many things about being in balance on the equinox, right? Which equals 8, which is an infinity drawing down from above. Okay, my loves, I need to part from you and go and be with my beloveds. And hello, my loves. You're so welcome. Thank you. Hi, Destine. Hi, Pamela. Hi, everyone. So remember that we have the Dolphin Jaguar Mayan retreat in December and in March. And I'm doing Greece in May, and I'm probably doing Egypt either late next year or the beginning of 2025. And I have some other things coming forward. There's the mystery school going in a new direction where we're going to become the channels that we're meant to be. We're going to go into the temples of the sacred feminine all next year. And my feeling this morning, as this downloaded into me over many hours in the ocean, I have to re-listen to my one of my sessions this morning because the whole thing was for her. And as I listened to it, I was like, oh, that's what I'm meant to do. Oh, okay, perfect. It was all put together for me. So channeling for others or for yourself, channeling in the moment, being a clear and open conduit for a tree or an energy or holding space for somebody. This is becoming more of a theme that people understand. I held such a strong space for my second group that I went with. I was invited to be the spiritual leader on someone else's trip, and they did not get private time for us in the King's Chamber. So we went in as early as possible. We ran up there, and I started to create space. I took us through into another dimension. As other people came in, they did not see us. We were there. I was toning. I was vibrating. I was holding space. I was guiding everybody through their activation. The whole chamber went through time, space, vibrated out, and then the lady whose trip it was started to take people one by one into what they call the sarcophagus. It's a stone chest that you go in right under the shaft to Orion, and it's a download, it's an activation. This is a very powerful ascension chamber. It is not a tomb, and it never was a tomb. And then each person, one by one, she took them on our trip. And I'm still holding this space. I'm holding the container. Nobody can see us. We're vibrating. Each person is awakening to their own powers, going through time and space, connecting, going through the stargates. Everything that happens, Egypt is quite powerful and palpable. You don't even have to get inside the pyramid to feel it. And then she came over to me, and she tapped me gently and said, okay, we're all done. It's your turn. And that was the time for me to stop holding the space in that way and come down and get into the sarcophagus myself. And here's what happened. Because I was no longer being this beacon for this space, I slowly started to come into my body enough to move. I walked over, I climbed in, and I laid there. I immediately left. I went straight out the shaft and into another reality, which means that the container I was holding in the King's Chamber began to fade. And as it did, our people became visible to the other people. And they didn't seem to be too surprised, except that there were a few tourists standing over the sarcophagus, staring in it, talking, and they couldn't see me because I was vibrating at a higher frequency. That's what we're doing now. This was many years ago, over 10 years ago. And what's possible now, like the other day you saw Joan was with us, and she's in Egypt right now, activating the temples with other people. They're doing Stargate experiences. They're really doing incredible work there. And I'm watching it and realizing that the 2 times I've been there, and the deep work that we did, and the sacred mystery schools that I went to, and the special access that we got into these places, not only showed me what I want to do. I never go anywhere as a tourist. It has to be sacred. We have to go in our most possible way. Maybe we can't get into places we used to get into, but we can get into places that maybe in the future we can't get into. So it's time to go right now. And maybe something will happen to me, or something will happen to my life that I can't go next year or can't go in the future. I don't know, which is one of the things that Spirit kept telling me. You've got to go to Greece now. Yes, now, yes, now. And those that will hear the call and will take the leap are the soul sisters that are willing to take that bigger leap for themselves, because it's going to be before the eclipse. So the transformation is going to immediately be implemented into the lives of everyone. And these ladies were looked in the sarcophagus and discussed it, turned around, were leaning against the sarcophagus and looking around and talking and pointing at this. They were not on our group. This is what my group told me, because I wasn't there. And then I slowly started to come back into my body and come into the place, and I began to vibrate in a 3D dimension, and my body appeared. And these 2 ladies who'd looked in, there was nothing there, looked up, discussed it, and turned around. They yelled and jumped. They were like, ah! Because they suddenly saw me. And again, I didn't realize this as I came into the body. It took a little while, and then they helped me out. And they explained it to me. And these 2 ladies that I looked like, what? And I looked, and they were on the other side of the chamber pointing at me, talking and whispering, oh my God, and it kind of reminds you of the olden days of the sacred feminine. Oh my God, look at the witch, look at what was that? Who knows? So there is, this is what you're meant to do for your life. You're meant to be here as a creator to create your own planet. And whatever you feel called on, I highly recommend that you move towards it. And please come over to the shop, grab the Equinox special. It'll be good until Monday at around noon, when Donna will be here to take it down off the shop. It is the lowest price of the year. It's $44 off of a session. You can buy as many as you want and use them for a year. And you get an extra one-time 15-minute soul profile session where I will read some aspect of your soul profile. It could be your soul mission, your soul personality, your soul fear, your soul goal. And this is a new system that I'm channeling that I will be sharing with you in the future. So the Sacred Mystery School that will be opening for next year will be specifically to awaken the sacred feminine. And this is going into the temple of Isis and the Blue Lotus, going into the temples of the moon maidens, going into the many aspects that the sacred feminine has held and embodied. Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene and the whole lineage around that, and the rose have a temple that they want to call us to. And these are the masters and ascended masters and so on that are very, very, they've been around, and yet they're being recalled, and they're being recalled forward in a new way. So if you like and you've learned about the ascended masters, if you've worked with them, I did many years studying them. This is a beautiful, more ancient text, the 7 Sacred Flames. This has ascended masters and different rays and different what do they call their retreats? Their different retreats in Shasta. And so we do have sacred masters, and there is a sacred retreat in the etheric in Mount Shasta. So tomorrow when we have Lisa here, she's going to be coming live from Mount Shasta, and we're going to do like we did with Joan and create an energetic bridge between here and Maya land, Greece, where I'm going, and I am existing in almost every other moment right now, and I will be on there for the full moon. Oh, and Lisa in Mount Shasta. So it's going to be another opportunity to awaken and balance the sacred feminine and masculine within you and within other aspects of the planet. So thank you for sharing this. Thank you for telling people. Like and subscribe to my channel. Tell as many people as you can. If you think there's a place that I should be speaking, or people who are wonderful and they are a community that speaks like me, I would love for you to share that with me or share me with them, because it is a time of us to come together into this crystalline grid that we are awakening, and do it in a conscious way so that we can love ourselves into acceptance and embody the divinity of who we're meant to be. So please remember, none of this is against masculine or men. None of this is to say, in fact, if we got rid of masculine energy, one of my dear friends used to say, we just all lay around having orgasms and eating, chocolate and saying, wow, wasn't that wonderful? And creating art, and nothing would get done. And it's not really true, but if you take what is the divine feminine? Thank you. I want to share one more thing, because it is really a powerful embodiment. I can't remember in the moment who it was. It's a male on the planet right now who's a teacher of many millions of people. And I heard him talk about masculine and feminine, men and women. And he uses a lot of psychology. Can't remember who it is right now. And I was listening, and I was fascinated, because it was like a 5-minute audio, a clip that I found. And he was basically describing the divine masculine and how it is attracted to the divine feminine. And it just, so it doesn't matter what the body is, right? The structure, right? We're talking about, and how it admires and loves the freedom in the divine feminine, that ability to flow and to express and to be soft and to be flowing. And you don't have to be like this in your life. If you're a woman, don't get mad at me and say, I'm not wearing dresses. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? Go into the symbology of it. And I saw the energy of it, how the divine feminine is in and out of form and intuitive, and come on, let's play, let's have pleasure, let's enjoy, let's love, let's sleep, let's hold, let's fly, let's, all of this. And the divine masculine doesn't know how to do that, but it's so drawn to it. It reveres it, it loves it, and that it surrounds it, and it holds it, and it just goes, oh, this is wonderful. Please keep expressing yourself. I've seen this in form in couples a couple of times, and it's quite profound. And the funny thing to me came to me, my beloved is a Taurus, and if you know Ferdinand the Bull, it was a beloved of mine character as I grew up. So the bull, but Ferdinand the Bull was a big bull, biggest bull there was, big masculine dude, and he just liked to sniff flowers. And I absolutely love that. I love that in men. I love the divine feminine in men. I love big, strong, masculine men that also are teddy bears, that also hold the balance of their sacred feminine. And so Chris embodies that. And I used to see him just like Ferdinand the Bull, just sitting in the middle of the field, sniffing flowers. And then I'm bouncing around, and there's this huge field, and there's this little fence around it, and he's just holding the space for me, and I'm just going, oh, la la la, and there's a fairy, and I'm doing this, and la la, and he's just watching and loving and admiring me and sniffing the flowers and holding this safe space. So in whatever way that could be for you, you might have a divine guide, a divine God, a divine essence, a divine teacher, a divine grandfather. Whatever divine masculine energy could you tune into that could come in not as power over you, but to admire you, love you, and hold space for you to express all of the beauty and the changing nature of your sacred feminine. All right, my loves. Namaste. Bye-bye.